Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Aaron Glossop. Today is all about walking through how you would submit a long service leave claim through the new worker portal. The process went live on the 13th of April. So what are we in? We're 2 weeks in, 2 weeks and a touch in. And I know that the team have been busily processing those claims and managing all the inquiries that come through it. What you'll see on the chat, at the top of the chat, is 2 links. I've pinned a link to the information sheet which we've developed to help people work through this new online claims process, and we've also linked a video step-by-step guide which is very thorough look through the process. It goes for about 7 or 8 minutes. You can fast forward or pick and choose what part of it you watch, but it's there for you and available to look at your own convenience. They are available on our website as well, so if you go to our resources page on our website, you'll find them amongst all the other resources, but the links are there for you to go directly to it. Before we get too much further into it, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. Today I'm on Kaurna land, and I pay my respects to the Kaurna people and also pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with us today. As I said, today we're going to walk through what to expect and how to use the new system. So what we're going to cover today, we'll just go back over a couple of those key dates that we've been working towards and we have achieved. We'll go through a step-by-step process of the new online claims. There'll be some time at the end for some Q&A, but as I said, for those who missed it at the start, if you've got any questions as we're filtering through some of these slides, chuck it in the chat and the team will be able to respond to and go from there. So just to start on that timeline real quick, for those who need a gentle reminder, the portable long service leave scheme started on the 1st of October last year. The most recent quarterly reporting period was the 1st of January to the 31st of March, and the return for that period and the levy payment for that period was due on the 21st of April. If you haven't been able to submit that yet and you're having some troubles or you need some advice or you need to have a chat to us about that, please reach out. And as I said, the long service leave claims process via the worker portal went live on the 13th of April. Just importantly to understand why this has changed, and I want to be really crystal clear about this, the long service leave claims now must go through the worker portal. We won't be accepting the old method, which is that manual downloading document that we would have had on the website previously. The process now goes through the worker portal, like I mentioned. If you've got any issues or you're struggling or you've got some experiences that don't necessarily help you or allow you to do that online, reach out to us and we'll have a chat to you about what that might look like. We might be able to have a workaround for you. But essentially, through the online process, it's a simple, and no more paper forms and no more scanning and no more having to pass the document on to your employer for them to do their bit and then pass it on to us. So that's the old method. The new method is all electronic. It creates alerts for when people need to do what they need to do. So it's a much more simple way of, I guess, processing these claims, and we hope that it will save time and we'll hope it actually saves everyone a little bit of heartache having to do a little bit more manual running around. So essentially, hopefully it makes your life a lot easier. Before a claim form process is started, what we would ask anyone or everyone is to make sure that they've got these things ready. So obviously, as a worker and you're wanting to make a claim, you'll need to log onto the system. So you'll need to know what your log-on details are. There is a authenticator process that you have to go through when you log on, and that is to protect your data. Essentially, it is a two-way authentication process to make sure that all of your information is protected. Now, whilst it's not mandatory, we would recommend that you have your tax file number available to enter in as you complete the claims process. It's entirely up to the worker making the claim. However, if you do not provide your tax file number, the worker will be up for the higher rate of tax for the payment received. We'll need to make sure that you have your bank details, and we'll need to make sure that they are correct. It's really important that when the details are entered, that you have your name or account name spelt correctly, and all of your BSB and account numbers correct. What we've seen in the past, not often, but on the odd occasion, is that someone has entered in like a nickname for their account, and they've put that on the form, and the bank has rejected the payment, and it just causes delays essentially at the end of the day. So make sure that you got any supporting documents. Now, there's not necessarily, there might not necessarily be any, but just if you need to share anything with us, or if you need to point anything out, make sure that you got that available and you can have that ready to upload when you're asked. The important part on this slide, I just want to remind everyone, and this doesn't and hasn't changed from the pre-scheme long service leave provisions or how it was calculated through to the new portable calculations, that if you want to take a week off of leave, long service leave is based on calendar days. That means that doesn't matter if you're working 5 days a week or you're working 2 days a week. If you want a week off from work, and that means that's 2 shifts off of work for you, it means you're requesting 7 calendar days of leave. And it's really important to note that when you enter your first day of leave and your last day of leave, that it will automatically calculate in calendar days. So that provision for long service leave hasn't changed from the previous system, or the previous way that long service leave was managed, through to now the portable scheme. All right, so if we move on to the next step, this is essentially what you look at when you first get ready to log on to the worker portal. And I know most of you possibly could have already logged on, so log on details, email address, and making sure that you remember your password. You'll complete that reCAPTCHA down the bottom, and then you'll go through that authentication process, that verification step, and it'll take you to your dashboard. And this dashboard is essentially your home base, or the worker's home base, and lists all of the portable leave details on your worker portal. So really important to note right now, all of these boxes that you can see in front of you on the screen are related to your portable leave. When we go to talking about your pre-scheme leave, so the leave that you accrued under the State Act with your employer previous to this portable scheme coming on board, is still available in the system if we've got those details. It just doesn't show on your dashboard at this point in time. Mandy can confirm, but I am aware that there's a request in place for us to upgrade this space to include some information at some point in time around that state long service leave. And I'm sure she'll jump in right now.
She'll jump in right now. Yes, 100%. That is something we're working on. We know that you want it now. And there's been some delays because about 15% of the workforce and community services have multiple employers, and we've been trying to find a meaningful way to explain the different balances for each employer as they sort of transition into the scheme. We've got that sort of in testing at the moment, but it'll still be a little while until that comes out. So in the meantime, and I'll just put a comment in about it. If workers want to check what balances are available to claim in their portals and what needs to be updated, they just need to click on forms in the menu and click on the long service leave claim, and then you can just scroll down and it will show you what your state long service leave balance is in that form itself. You don't need to submit the form, you can just close the whole thing and that will just get rid of it, but you'll be able to see it's at what's available in the actual form itself.
And just on that, we'll actually show you a screenshot of that page in the slides coming up as well. You know, the system won't allow you to take leave if it isn't showing on the system anyway. So it's really important that the balances that you are requesting, or the leave that you are requesting, the balances are verified during the claim process anyway. So you might see some discrepancies initially, and what I would suggest is not to panic. It's not as though you've lost them. It essentially comes down to, one, we've got the details and it's available through the way that Mandy just explained, or we're probably, or we could be, I should say, still waiting for the information to come through from your employer as part of the state long service leave return, which is a one-off return that is due tomorrow, I believe. And there was no fee involved in that one-off state long service leave return. So essentially, if you're ready to go and you're ready to apply for leave, you would move on to the next step, which is under forms. As Mandy said before, you would select long service leave claim. It's a pretty straightforward drop-down box, but I just want to make sure that we don't have any confusion here. That main menu that drops down, you'll see there's 4 different forms that you can that you'll see. It's really important that if you want to claim long service leave, you select long service leave claim, and everything is right, or it's directed due to this page here, which essentially starts the claim for you. So the first question you are asked is the claim type, and what we'll do is just quickly go through the 3 I guess ones we'll talk about today. We'll focus predominantly on the long service leave claim, which is when a worker wants to take a holiday, or they want to take some leave from work and go off and do whatever they want to do. We'll go through the process of doing that today. The other 2 is the long service leave cash out. Fairly self-explanatory. It's when someone wants to get a cash out in lieu of taking leave. Each their own. They might need the cash for something. We would always recommend workers taking a holiday or well-earned break, but if that's the option that you're looking for, it's the cash out option. And the third option is a termination payment, and that is when the worker is leaving the sector altogether, and they may be leaving, or not maybe, they will be leaving their employer or employers, multiple employers, and they're looking to cash out their entirety of their long service leave accruals. So, like I said, today we'll go through the long service leave claim, and you would simply select that on the drop-down box, and then the next step is focused on around eligibility. So very, very importantly, the first question is about whether or not the leave you're taking, the employer you're taking the leave from, has an enterprise agreement that allows the worker to take leave before the standard timeframes. So we know some businesses do have an enterprise agreement that allows workers to take leave after, say, 5 years instead of the normal. And this is you. Sorry, if this is you and your employer does have an enterprise agreement that does allow you to do that, you would select yes. The next question, which isn't shown in your screen today around enterprise agreement, is if you do select yes, you'll be required to enter the enterprise agreement name, so the name of the document that your organisation has. Now, I know not everyone knows what that name is, so what we would do or suggest is that you just talk to your employer or your HR team or your payroll team about what that might be called, and all you need to do is enter the name of it, and then once we've got those details, we can refer to it to confirm that that is all correct. The next question, I'll just a little focus on that one a bit as well. Some people have been a little bit confused with this question, especially for those who transitioned from the pre-scheme service over to portable in October last year, but have since just recently changed employers. So they have long service leave available to them, but because they've just recently in the last month or two changed employers, they actually hypothetically don't. They're not, I guess, eligible to take leave if based on the way you read that question. But what we're actually asking that question is whether or not you actually have leave through that transition period, that longer service leave to take. So we're just having a look at how that reads. But if you have been with your employer and you do have a entitlement to take over that transition period, you would select yes. If you haven't, and you don't have enough time, I haven't been there long enough to earn that entitlement, you would select no, and that would be the end of the claim form because you don't actually have any long service leave to claim. So you would select yes, and that will take you through to the next page. What I would just say is acknowledge that it can be a little bit confusing in the way it comes across, but if you take on board how we've explained it just now, it shouldn't give you any dramas. But if you do or are unsure about it, reach out, have a bit of a read on that instruction information sheet or the video, and have another crack, or just at least get through that process. So right now, we don't have an enterprise agreement on this screen, and we have been employed with the employer for more than 7 years, which would allow you to take the next step in the claims process. This obviously is what we referred to a little bit earlier around tax details. It is not a mandatory question. It is up to you, up to the worker, whether or not they complete this or not. I will say it again that if you choose not to provide us your tax file number, the highest tax threshold will be withheld. I think it's around 47%, which is a killer. You can enter your tax file number to reduce that to your current rate. The other question there is simply a residency status question, and that's all for tax purposes as well. So you enter your tax file number. If you're an Australian resident for taxation purposes, select yes and move on to the next step. This is I guess the section where Mandy was referring to earlier when we look at what your state long service leave balances, where they'll be listed. The section is called employer details, and essentially it is where your state long service leave balances will sit for each of the employers that you work for. You might only work for one, so you'll only have one of these sections, but if you have multiple employers, you'll have a section for each of those employers. You'll see there that it will reference the employer name and their reference number as well, so you can make sure that you are requesting the leave from the correct employer if you have multiple employers. If you want to take leave from this employer, the first question you'll see there is if you have a salary sacrifice arrangement with them. If you don't, you can press no. That's a pretty simple response. If you do, the next question would be around whether or not you want that amount paid to your employer, and then how much you want paid to your employer. Now, what the process, for those who don't know, for the process around salary sacrifice payments is that once the claim form has been processed and the payment is being made, the salary sacrifice portion of that claim will be withheld from sending it to the worker, and that amount will be sent back to the employer for them to manage the process between employer and salary sacrifice provider as normal, as they would normally do in any normal circumstance. So if in this circumstance, the worker has requested $100 of salary sacrifice to be sent back to the employer as part of their contribution, you would enter that amount and that will be sent back to the employer. You'll see that the next part is your balance of your state long service leave with this employer. So in this scenario, that worker has 13.9143 weeks. If you're selecting leave from this employer, you would enter the first day of leave and the last day of leave. And then the system will calculate and pre-populate the days of leave and how many weeks of leave that equates to. So you'll go back to our conversation earlier around calendar days. So in this scenario, the worker is taking leave from the 1st of June to the 14th of June, which equates to 14 days of leave. Just want to make sure that when the worker's going through this part of it, that they do check their employment details are correct. They're checking it, that they're requesting it from the right employer, and they are super sure that the salary sacrifice amount is correct, and that's the amount that you want paid back to the employer. So you would do that for each of your employers that you want to take leave from. One thing that we've noticed as well is that some workers are entering the details of the leave they want in their employer section, so the section that you can see on your screen now, but are also then duplicating that exact time frame in the next section, which is the portable long service leave balances. Which is not needed. So if you're only taking leave from your employer for pre-scheme service, you would only need to enter the details into this section. If you were claiming long service leave from pre-scheme service and portable long service leave, then you would also complete this section as well. This is the balances for your portable long service leave and reflects those boxes on your dashboard with the amount of leave that you have available. What we would suggest is that considering we're only 6, 7, 8 months in, not many of workers would have much of a portable long service leave balance. So most of their leave that they would be claiming at this point in time will generally be pre-scheme service. So we would suggest you look at that first. If you do have enough portable long service leave to claim for the time that you want off, or if you want to add it to your state long service leave claim portion as well, absolutely fine. But we would obviously get you to look at the state long service pre-scheme service first. If you do claim a portion of state long service leave, which is the pre-scheme service and portable long service leave, the dates just need to be consecutive. So if you're taking leave from the 15th to the 21st on your screen here, the next bit of leave, the consecutive leave, would be the 22nd and onwards, or whatever extra or additional leave that you want on top of that. If you are not claiming any portable long service leave as part of this claim and you're only claiming pre-scheme service, then you can skip this part altogether. The other really important thing from a worker right here is for them to take a look at the estimated rate of pay that's listed on the right-hand side. This is the information that we've got from your employers. Now, if you believe that's incorrect or there's some issues with it or you're not 100% sure, what our suggestion would be is for you to go back to your employer to double check that. We can make some changes based on the quarterly reporting that your employer does, and this is where that data comes from. But we haven't got the ability to make that change ourselves without that data from your employer. So again, if the worker's claiming state long service leave and portable long service leave, you would enter the portable dates in here of the first day of leave and the last day of leave. You would have to acknowledge that the weekly rate of pay looks correct, and you would select yes once you are happy, and then it will give you a list of the estimated amount of the payment there on your screen. The next section is simply, where do you want your money to go? When we talk about this claim, which is again a claim for leave, taking a holiday, there are options around the frequency of payments. the leave first day and last day would populate, and then you would tell us how often you would like that payment made. So in this scenario, you can see the drop-down box gives them options of a fortnight payment. If they're taking more than a fortnight, I guess, worth of leave, there's a one-off single payment, and there are weekly payments as options as well. When it comes to the other types of leave we spoke about earlier, you don't have these options. The options for different frequencies is only available for the worker who wants to take leave. So you really, I guess, choose what's best suited to you. We find a lot of people try to match it with their normal pay cycles when they receive their pay. And from our perspective, our payment cycles occur on Wednesdays of every week. I don't believe there are any other payment options at this point in time other than Wednesdays. And Mandy can tell me I'm wrong at any point in time, but I think I'm right. I'm right. That's excellent. Good. All right. Other than telling us how you want to get paid, we obviously need your bank details. And this is obviously really important to make sure that you get the details correct. It sounds simple. I know people do make some mistakes, and unfortunately those mistakes result in delays. So we just want you to be really careful when it comes to this part. You will need to have your BSB, your account number, and your account name on hand. Importantly, we've given you the option of a BSB search. That function allows you to type your bank details into the into this page, and in this example, it pops up with the Commonwealth Bank, and then will automatically pre-fill with the BSB into the BSB search for you. And then all you'll need to do is enter your account number, obviously unique to yourself, and your account name. And we've talked about that enough already. Obviously, we don't want any typing errors. A lot of things, not a lot of things. Some of the delays being caused are coming from incorrect details being entered into this particular part. So we get to the next section, which is a comment section. This is not mandatory. You do not have to put anything in here if you do not need to, or if you have nothing you need to enter. It simply is an opportunity for you or for the worker to pass on any information about your claim that you would like us to know when we process it. So you would essentially provide us with that information, and it's a free form box, so you would just type away and then you would press next. And this is where you sign it off, really. It's an online declaration page. You would tick the declaration sign bit here, and the date will be populated as to when you've done that, and you would click submit. And your long service leave claim will officially be lodged. So you might be wondering what happens next. But before I do that, I just want to quickly check in with Mandy. Is there anything that we need to go over these past pages before I move on to what the employers have to do?
Not just yet.
Okay,
I think we're good
cool.
for now.
We're good. Okay, cool. Brilliant. So as a worker, this is where your job is done. And the next step is when it moves to the employer for their small part to play. The good thing is, once the claim has been submitted by the worker, the portal instantly notifies the employer that the leave is being claimed from. So what would happen here is the employer would review the claim from their worker. There's a couple of things that don't show on your screen at the moment, but will be required if there is a salary sacrifice payment to be made. If there is, we'll request the bank details of the employer for where that salary sacrifice payment needs to go. This is really important, obviously, for that payment to be going back to the employer. So the employer will need to have the correct bank details on hand. They'll also need to enter the worker's current average weekly hours, and they'll also need to enter the hourly rate at the claim date. So that is another thing that has been tripping people up. The claim date and the hourly rate is when the claim has been made. The date is based on that date. If it's state long service leave that the worker is claiming, it does not, or it is not the 30th of September 2025, it is at the claim date. So just remember, just in case the worker has had a change in the hourly rate since the 1st of October, since then right through to the claim date, that the correct hourly rate needs to be captured, and that is based on the claim date, not the 30th of September, 1st of October date. So the worker and the employer at that point in time can track the claim in the portal dashboard as those statuses update in real time. We, from our processing perspective, our timeframes are super reliant on when the employer does their bit. So the worker would submit, and however long it takes for the employer to do their approval section, which I've just shown you is fairly quick and simple, but it might not necessarily mean the employer gets to it on the day that the worker makes the claim. We would ask the employers to try and get to it as soon as they can. We understand that people don't work every day of the week or have got extremely busy workloads, especially in the middle of the year. So we would ask the employers to do that as soon as possible, because our processing timeframes, which we are currently saying is a 3-week turnaround time, that 3-week turnaround time starts at the time when the employer has completed their bit, not from when the worker has submitted. When the employer has completed their approval and provided all the details that we need to process the claim. So that 3-week turnaround time is, I guess, a time frame that we try to achieve. There are times where we'll do it earlier, and then there are occasions where we might be longer than 3 weeks because we are waiting for details around something from the employer, or there's some issues with the claim that we just need clarification on. But that's essentially our timeframes when it comes to getting the claim through from the employer is around 3 weeks. And then that point onwards, we handle everything else. We make the payments to the nominated bank account, and happy days. Off you go on leave and hopefully have an enjoyable break from work. That's it for that type of claim. Obviously, there's a whole lot more to it if it gets a little bit more challenging or if there's other questions. So again, we've got team and we've got the ability to interact back and forth. Just to look at quickly the other two claim types that we spoke about earlier. So the cash out claim type, which is when the worker wants to take the money instead of having a holiday. We don't need any leave dates at that point in time. We just need the worker to select how many days they want to cash out, and then we ask them to provide us with their preferred payment date as well. And we'll do everything we can to aim for that. Again, our processing days are on Wednesdays for payroll payments. So if it aligns with that, absolutely fine. If it doesn't, we'll do what we can. The other one is the termination payment, and that one, again, as a reminder, is when the worker is leaving the sector completely and wants to have a full balance payout. We don't need any dates. All we'll need is to process it, is the information from your employer as to when your last date with your employer is. The important thing to note is that we can't process the claim until after you have had your last day. And until you've left the sector completely. So it may take a few extra days, but essentially we just need to make sure that we confirm a few details with the employer to confirm that the worker has in fact left the sector, and then we'll calculate all the entitlements based on the information that we get from the employer. I'm not going to touch on this too much. I think everyone has heard me say this enough already, but I don't want to be anyone left confused around the 7-week basis around long service leave. We're all pretty intelligent. We know that 1 week is 7 days, and we know that 2 weeks is 14 days, and so on. So it's really important that that is understood. And what we're seeing to date is that a lot of people don't realise that long service leave is based on calendar days. Especially if you're a casual or a part-time worker who only work a certain number of days a week, they do still need to take the correct dates off, which aligns with the calendar days. So make sure you check your dates, and if you need to do your maths beforehand, before you submit, do so. As with all of our webinars and with all of our work that we've been doing over the last 8 or so months, we've been developing a whole lot of information to support workers and employers through every step of the process. And we know there's a lot to take in, so we appreciate everyone giving up their time to sit in conversations like today and previously as well. We've developed a substantial amount of information sheets, which we call toolkits. So I think we've had 6 releases of toolkits, which can include up to 3, 4, 5 different information sheets for different steps of the process, and you'll find them on our website as well. All of our webinars that we've held to date and our live Q&A sessions, all those recordings are on our website. So you have the ability to go back to them and watch them at your own convenience, at your own time. The only thing is you have to listen to my voice all the time, so I will apologise for that. We also have a substantial amount of FAQs for workers and for employers on our website. And then if you still can't navigate your way through it, if you're still a bit stuck, or if you've got a question that doesn't seem to fit the boundaries of the information provided, we've got a team of customer service officers, just a phone call or an email away, that can help you through your sticking point. If you've got any specific questions around any part of the long service leave, the portable long service leave process, or what something means to you, you can reach out to them. I guess what we want you to take away is that acknowledging that, yes, there is a lot for you to do and learn and change in the way that you've done things in the past, but you're not on your own. We've got all of those resources and that help available to you as you need it. Really, that comes to the end of, I guess, my slides. We'll go back to the point that I made earlier in the chat, that we do have that information sheet available for you to, I guess, read through. It will help you through exactly what we've just talked about through the claims process. If you have time, or you have the ability to watch an 8-minute long step-by-step video guide, please watch it. It's on our website. It is got subtitles and is spoken as well, so you can pause and play at any part of it, and it does go through a little bit more detail in those 2 other claim types we spoke about at the end there as well. Other than our website, we do a ton of work through our social media channels on LinkedIn and Facebook, and we post reminders about sessions like today, or news, or any changes in processes, or any information that you all need to know. So what I would suggest is, if you're not following us, do so. Jump on LinkedIn or Facebook and start following us, and you'll get some fairly regular information about the portable long service leave scheme. Essentially, that gets me to the end of what I really want to say, and I would normally hand over to Mandy now, just to go through some of the questions that she may have been responding to on the chat. But also, if anyone does want to put their hand up and be brave and ask some questions, we can take some from this point onwards as well. But Mandy, how have you been travelling over there on the chat room?
Good, I think. I do have a couple of things to say though. Yep. So in terms of the weeks, it doesn't matter how many days a week you work. If you want a week off, which is 7 days, then you need to take 7 days. If you want to take 3 weeks off and get paid for 3 full weeks, you need to take 21 days. So the idea is if you want to get paid for a full week of work, regardless of how many days a week you work, you need to apply for 7 days or in 7-day blocks. If you work 3 days a week and you apply for 9 days because you want 3 weeks off, we're only going to pay you for your equivalent of a week and a half because you've not applied in calendar days, you've applied in working days. So please remember that your payment is going to be based on calendar days, and 1 week is 7 days. It's going to be the same. There's a question here about RDOs or whatever. It's the same. So we have a weekly rate of pay from your employer. So we're taking off the calendar days within that week. So a 5-day week gets counted as if you get paid $200 a day. I know that's not very much, but whatever. $200 a day is $1,000 a week. Then you take 7 days, 1 week, you get paid your $1,000. That's how that works. So there's no, like the weekends, maybe you don't normally work on a weekend. It doesn't make any difference. It's your payment week is spread across the entire week. The other thing I wanted to talk about was on the claim form. So we were talking about on the claim form where you have your different employers' balances about taking leave. And we were saying we're taking leave from that employer. Thank you, Aaron. And claiming. So what we mean by that isn't necessarily that you're taking the time off work from that specific employer. It means that you're using the balance of leave that's accrued with that employer. So whether you take the time off from that employer or all your employers or no employers doesn't make any difference. The idea is that you've built that balance of long service leave with that employer before the scheme starts, and you're claiming the entitlements from that balance. Okay, so there's been a bit of confusion about taking time off from one employer and not another employer. It's not really about which employers you're taking the leave from. It's about which leave balances we're paying you for. So hopefully that makes sense. Other than that, I don't really have any more things from the chat. I've answered pretty much all the questions, just on the last 2 as well.
Yeah.
At the moment.
So I just want to make sure that you all understand as well that those balances are from the employers that you would have accrued pre-portable long service leave. That's information that we get from the employers. I know that we've got a considerable amount of that data already from a number of employers. There is still some employers that haven't yet provided us with that data. So it's really important that for you to know this, if we haven't received that data from your employers, the balance won't show as if you have that available. So that's why we're saying to employers, it's really important that we do get that data from them. As a worker and you want to make a claim and that information hasn't been provided to us, it won't show up on your balances, meaning you won't be able to take that leave. And I don't say that to put pressure on employers at all. It's just a reality of us not having any knowledge of the amount of leave that any worker has available at that point in time. I'll get to you in a minute, Michelle. I just want to say one last thing. If we have received the balances from your employer around the state long service leave, the pre-scheme service, my understanding is the system automatically populates that balance onto your worker portal. So there shouldn't be any confusion about that being updated. Essentially, if you don't think it's correct as a worker, it is generally because that's the information that we've been provided by the employer. There may be some other reasons. I haven't heard of them as yet up until this point in time, but for the majority of time, it's because we either haven't got the data or we have got data, and if it doesn't align with what your thinking is, the suggestion I would give you is that you go back and talk to your employer about the information that they have provided us and whether or not that's correct, or you don't believe it. If it's incorrect and you don't believe it's correct, just have a chat to them about it. Look, that's enough from me about that topic. I'm sure you'll all have more questions. And Michelle, thank you for bravely putting up your hand.
Oh, no worries. So I just wanted to flag, I guess, one of the potential gaps that I'm seeing is for those employees who work for an organisation that has the enterprise agreement that allows them to take the leave between at 7 years. So what I'm seeing is that there doesn't seem to be an accurate accrual or any visible accrual that's happening between 7 and 10 years. So I know that Mandy answered my question and said at 10 years of accrual that the portal will update with your 13 weeks of leave. But what my staff are reporting so their dashboard clearly is incorrect. It's not actually showing that accrual of the state long service leave, but I understand where we can now find it is in the forms that you've just gone through. So if I just use myself as an example, my 7 years of I've been here for 7 years, so I can see my state long service leave being there. It is there on that form, but there doesn't seem to be any. Some staff have reached their service anniversary between like the 1st of October and now, and their long service leave accrual is not updating. So that time period between 7 years and 10 years for our staff, they are able to take that, but there's no visibility of how it's actually being tracked and accrued. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yes. But that's why we have the question at the start about whether you have 7 years. So because enterprise agreements are per person and not per organisation, and they're also subject to change quite regularly, we can't build a system that's going to be able to automatically know which people have which enterprise agreement that allows them to take leave at whichever point in time. So we can't build that into the system. What we can do though is have that state balance available for state service, and then have that option available for people to go, yes, I do have that agreement. So they can still fill in the form, and then we'll be able to review it and process it if they're eligible for that.
Yeah, I think what I need to do is flag with our own payroll that because what we've noticed is that the actual tracking on our own payroll also failed to update since the long service portable long service leave scheme has taken effect. So while it was tracking year to year before that, it seems to have stopped tracking. So I just think that there's a little bit of a gap there. So that, you know, the couple of people that have reported that to me know when they reach their service anniversary date, and that 1.3 weeks should have been added to their leave balance, but it wasn't. And I think it's because we think that it's being tracked in the portable long service leave scheme, but it isn't. So I just think there's a little bit of a gap there.
Okay, well, we can have a look into that a bit more if you want to send us an email. But yeah, I think, I'm not really sure at the moment.
Maybe we'll take that one offline, Michelle, and we'll see what it is that we can, maybe just a little bit of a better understanding, and then just if there's anything we can do. But I know the system is a little bit kind of centered around big kind of making sure everyone has the same information. But let's take that offline and we'll have a chat about that.
No worries.
But yeah, I appreciate that. It sounds a little bit like a bit of a scenario where some workers are a bit confused about what their balances are. So thank you for raising that. Is there anything else?
We can also provide a bit of guidance. Like, again, I know that the state balances aren't all in the system as visibly as we would like them to be, and that's coming. But some of the guidance we can provide people is if you want to know how many full years of service you've got, you just need to look at the months accrued and divide them by 12. If you want to know what the weekly leave balance for that is, it's months accrued divided by 12 times by 1.3. So whilst I know not everyone's not amazing at maths, the numbers are sort of there to be able to be calculated if you need to. And we'll have them updated on the system as clearly as we can in a way that we'll be able to manage everyone in the sector. It has been quite challenging managing all the different nuances across the sector, people working different hours, different pay rates, different eligibility timeframes. Like there's the 7-day week. Some people do work 2 days a week. Some people work 7 days a week. There's lots and lots of different things to consider, and trying to build something that manages all of those effectively has been really challenging. We're going to keep trying. We'll keep improving. But yeah, just bear with us. Keep sending through the feedback. But yeah, appreciate your patience while we try and make it work for as many people as possible.
Thanks for that, Mandy. All right, who's next? Anyone?
There's a question in here that says about instructions for when the employer receives an email saying that the employee has applied for long service leave. So Aaron did go through that a little bit at the end, didn't you, Aaron?
Yeah, I did. Do you want,
but basically you just need to log into your employer portal, and then it will ask you about any pending leave requests, and you either need to approve or decline them and pop in the extra information that we might be asking for, which is the worker's pay rate at the time of claim, and just approving salary sacrifice if they've requested it, or declining it if that's the case, and the amount.
Can I just add to that? I know we've today especially focused predominantly on how the worker applies for long service leave through the different claim types. One of the things that I've got on my to-do list is to develop a information sheet for employers focused on what they need to do when it comes to a long service leave claim. So stay tuned on that one. So it's just it'll be a simple, I guess, 1 or 2 pager around the steps that you'll take, and will be available for you to download to understand exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it, or how you need to do it, and what you need to provide. So stay tuned on that one. Was there any other questions in the chat that you wanted to focus on, Mandy? On the spot?
I don't think there were any that we haven't already addressed.
Does anyone have any misunderstanding around where the balances are kept for both types of leave, from the state leave and the portable leave? I think we were fairly clear on where to find them, or where you can see them when you do make the claim, or when the worker makes a claim. So that should be fairly simple to find, fingers crossed. We talked a little bit about salary sacrifice around what the process is. So it's really important that the worker gives us the amount that they want paid back to the employer, to then pass on to the salary sacrifice provider. And then in return, the employer will need to provide us with their bank details to allow us to make that payment to them. So that's really important. Not everyone's going to have a long service leave. Not everyone's going to have a salary sacrifice component. I know it's fairly common in this sector, but it doesn't mean you have one. So if you don't, you just leave it. And it's only salary sacrifice that we would manage through that process as well. I think that's all I have really in that space. If we've got no more questions on the chat, other than I've just seen one come through, Mandy, and I know you can see you busily reading it. Do we want to answer that one real quick?
Yep. If the employer paid long service leave through the quarterly return, what do you do? If you paid the long service leave directly to the worker, then it's included in your remuneration and it's included in your weeks worked. So you need to put it on your return just like any other work. If we paid you the long service leave, the long service leave, you don't put either of those things on. So no weeks worked for the time they took off, and no remuneration that we would have paid the worker. So if we paid them directly, you do nothing, you don't put it on your return. And if you paid them directly, it all goes on your return as if regular leave. The other one says, when applying for leave in the portal, is the pay rate, if the pay rate showing is not correct, you go ahead and submit your leave request. Yes, you can submit your leave request even if you think it's incorrect, but you can provide us with some documentation or some comments and things telling us that you think your pay rate is incorrect and why.
So that would be in that comments field that we showed you as part of the claim process. You might have the ability to upload a couple of pay slips, or just some evidence around what your pay rate is. And then obviously once we've got that information, the conversation will happen between us and the employer around making sure that we've got everything correct.
Yeah, so if you do have concerns, please use that information, that spot on
Yeah.
the field to tell us that you've got a concern so that we can look into it for you.
I hope I'm not making anyone seasick when it comes to navigating through these pages so quickly, but I thought I'd make you aware that, you know, these are the pages that you would go to do that particular part of the question. And I love the love heart. Thank you. All right. We have got 3 minutes left and 3 minutes worth of questions if anyone has any. Or if not, we'll close up and give you your afternoon back. Okay, I reckon everyone's happy. I can see Angela, she's smiling, so everyone must be happy. So that's great. All right, we'll wrap it up. Michelle, we'll be in touch. Maybe we'll reach out directly, or you can reach out to us and we can have a chat. But for the meantime, thank you so much for meeting us today. We'll have the recording of today's webinar up on the website, hopefully by the end of the day. And if you do want to revisit it, or if you do want to reach out, please do so. Thank you so much. Have a good Thursday and, oh no, it's Wednesday. Have a good Wednesday and the rest of the week. Thank you.